Welcome to this special sports presentation on WLCS TV. I'm Tim Elkhorn, and tonight we bring you the Southview Saints taking on the Railroaders from Cleveland Collinwood High School. The Railroaders saw their season get off to a horrible start as they got drubbed by Warren Harding 73-0. Meanwhile, the Southview Saints, well, their season got off to a resounding start as they crushed Lincoln West 61-6. Tony Miller with 4 touchdowns in that ball game. They'll try to keep it rolling right here on WLCS TV when they take on Collinwood. We'll be back with the opening kickoff right after this.
The second half, so Daniel Morrison approaches the football for the Railroaders and hits it right down the middle of the field. Coming up for Southview, Tony Miller. He had 4 touchdowns last week, and he's out to the 50, to the 45, to the 40. He's to the 35, to 30, gets a block, 25, 20, 15, 10, 5, touchdown! Tony Miller with the opening kickoff takes it the distance for Southview, and 14 seconds into the ball game, the Saints have themselves a 6-0 lead.
Well, I don't know how Brian Joyner is expecting to keep this guy a secret. He has touched the ball, 4 times in the opening week, 1 time tonight. He's got 5 touchdowns already. And give Raymond Wilson credit. He made a terrific block down around the 20-yard line when it looked like Miller might get caught from behind.
Tony Miller electrifies the crowd. Opening kickoff for the touchdown, and now for Southview. The extra point attempt is up, and it is no good. Missed to the right, but the Saints lead it 6-0. 11:46 to go in the opening quarter here at George Daniel Field in Lorain. The Saints started off with a bang on our Colemeyer Sports Gridiron Clash. How long was that? Oh, he wasn't down. Take it out of this.
This is 60?
I can't believe it if it is, because God bless it. If it is, I need to know.
It sounds like a 60 to me.
Welcome back to George Daniel Field in Lorain. The Collinwood Railroaders down 6-0, and on the ensuing kickoff after Tony Miller's 88-yard jaunt for a score, Collinwood actually got a huge break because Daniel Morrison on the return was whistled down at the 21-yard line and the football came loose. And Eric and Gary Pelter on the sideline, I don't think he was down. I don't think that knee had touched. And Southview may have been right within striking distance again, but Collinwood now with the football.
I don't think the knee touched. I think maybe the call was that the forward progress was stopped because it didn't look like he was going to be able to get out of Jason Noble's tackle, and I think that was the reason the whistle blew.
So here comes Collinwood down 6-0 on the scoreboard. Tony Miller electrified the crowd with an 88-yard kickoff return for a touchdown, and now on Collinwood's first offensive play of the night, Daniel Morrison, their tailback, tries the left side and picks up about 6 yards out to the 27-yard line. Nice play by Daniel Morrison. Well, for our first sideline update of the evening, let's head down to Gary Pelter. He'll be on the Saint sideline throughout the night. Gary?
Thank you very much, Tim. Well, we got an update on the kicker for Southview. Is number 17, Larry Ward, a sophomore, and that's why he's not in the program. Got the kicking duties tonight, and he'll be handling them throughout the evening.
All righty, thank you very much. So Larry Ward is the Southview kicker. 10:50 to go in the opening quarter. 2nd down and 2 for Collinwood. The ball spotted at the 28-yard line. Handoff goes to Robert Fisher. Fisher breaks a tackle in the backfield. No, excuse me, that was Morrison again. And Daniel Morrison out over the 30 to about the 32-yard line. That'll be a Collinwood first down.
And getting up off the field slowly, Darnell Bell, because he shot off the line of scrimmage, and he had Morrison trapped behind the line but couldn't finish the tackle, and because of that, Morrison was able to break free and pick up enough yards for the first down.
So the Railroaders 1st and 10 at their own 33-yard line. 10:15 to go in the opening quarter. Collinwood here in the first quarter of play goes left to right on your radio dial. Southview will defend the south goal. Sam Mitchell is the Railroader quarterback. Mitchell under center, long signal count, drops the snap, now picks it back up, but he's hit immediately and thrown for about a 3-yard loss back to the 30-yard line.
One good sign so far for Southview. The last couple of plays, good penetration off the line because they're going to need that to shut down the Collinwood attack. Collinwood's such a run-based offense. What they want to do, as you heard in the pregame show, control the clock. Of course, they also wanted to dominate on special teams. It doesn't look like that's going to happen so far tonight.
Now with Tony Miller back there for Southview. Boy, he's an electrifying player. Second down and 12 now as the ball is resting right on the 30-yard line. Again, Sam Mitchell is the Railroader quarterback. Double wing formation with Morrison in the left wing. Now he jogs in motion. Mitchell looks, throws, and he overthrew his receiver over on the near side. The tight end for Collinwood, Mike Jones, and Jones had the pass sail over his head by about 5 yards. By the way, that first WEOL sideline update from Gary Pelter on the Southview sideline was brought to you by the Ankle and Foot Center in Lorain. They love feet at the Ankle and Foot Center. Call 246-1200. Third down and 12 now from the 30-yard line. Mitchell huddling the troops. Splitting wide to the left is Damian Zellers. Coming here to the near side on the right, Tim Name. Split backs behind Sam Mitchell. Mitchell looking over the Southview defense. Long signal count, straight drop back, pump fake, and he's going to be thrown for a loss. The sack made by Darnell Bell for Southview as he flung him to the ground back at the 22-yard line.
And he was focusing on the same receiver that he threw to on the last play, but he slipped, and you could see all of a sudden as Mitchell looked, realized that that pass wasn't going to work, and he just tucked it under and took the sack.
So with 8:49 left here in the first quarter, Daniel Morrison drops in punt formation for Collinwood, standing at his own 10-yard line. Good snap to Morrison. Gets the kick underway. Short spiraling kick, bounces at the 42-yard line. Takes a little bit of a Collinwood roll, but rolls dead at the 44. So Southview's offense will take the field for the first time tonight. 8:31 to go in the first quarter, and the Saints with an early 6-0 lead. If you're just joining us, you missed some early fireworks. It took the Saints 14 seconds to score in the football game. Tony Miller with an 88-yard return of the opening kickoff for a touchdown. And now here comes Southview's offense. Brian Buxton is the quarterback. And we'll see a host of running backs behind him. Eddie Daniels is the up back right now with Frank Witherspoon behind him. Pitch goes to Witherspoon, gives the ball in a reverse to Tony Miller. Miller tripped up at the 43. Terrific defensive play made by Mike Jones.
And if it wasn't for Mike Jones, Tony Miller could have been off for his 6th touchdown of the season, as it looked like a lot of the Railroaders fooled. Interesting, you go into the gadget play on your first play from scrimmage.
Well, Brian Joyner mentioned during our pregame show, the State Farm Insurance pregame show, he wants to get the ball in Tony Miller's hands as often as he can during the course of the ball game. Miller now lines up in a slot right. Damius Crawford, the wide receiver, splits out wide to the right. I formation behind Brian Buxton. And now in motion goes Eddie Gregoric. Pitch goes to Witherspoon. Witherspoon breaks a couple of tackles and gets down the right side to about the 33-yard line. And that should be enough for a Southview first down. It will be very close.
I'm going to tell from here, it looks like they're going to spot him just short.
Yep. Now they put the knee down at the 34-yard line, so about a yard shy of the first. Up front for Southview, their offensive line. Rick Spahn is the center, a 235-pound junior. Zach Cramp and Dennis Close are the guards, with Joe Mazup and Kyle Crumley the tackles. Vaughn Francis is the tight end. Now Southview comes out in a wishbone formation on a 3rd down and 1. Handoff to Tony Miller. Miller breaks through a couple of tackles, but I'm not sure if he got to the first down marker on the right side. Tried to extend forward with the football. And he may be about a half-yard shy of the first.
And I think he had trouble on the exchange. It looked like it almost looked like he was going to put the ball on the ground. Give him credit for some quick hands. He was able to keep control, keep it from going over to the Collinwood team. But because of that, he wasn't able to hit the hole as quickly as he had hoped.
So here comes Frank Witherspoon in the ball game now for Southview. They're going to go for it. 4th down and 1 at the 34-yard line of Collinwood. 6.5 minutes to go in the opening quarter. Southview with an early 6-0 lead. Again, they come out in the wishbone formation. Ball at the right hash mark. Brian Buxton under center. Fake handoff. Buxton rolling to the left. Escapes one tackle. Comes back up the middle. Now flips it. And the pass is completed to Damius Crawford. And Crawford picks up the first down at about the 31. Well, that was a wild and woolly play for Southview, as Brian Buxton was almost thrown for a huge loss in the backfield. Shook that tackler and was able to find Damius Crawford. Literally lobbed the football about 3 yards, but that's all Southview needed for the first down.
On 4th and 1, that is all you need. I don't believe that Buxton was looking to throw the ball on that play. I thought it was a naked bootleg, tried to pick up the yard that way, but give him credit for being alert and finding the open man.
So the Saints with a first down after going forward on 4th and 1. Pitch goes to Frank Witherspoon. Witherspoon tries the right side. Flags fly all over the place. Breaks a tackle. Now comes all the way back to the left side of the field to the 25, to the 20. Spins away from a tackler inside the 15 before a slew of white jerseys brings him down at about the 13-yard line. But again, we've got flags all over the place back at the original line of scrimmage. And I think this one's going to go against Southview. Indeed.
Yeah, Rick Spahn does not look very happy out there.
The guys in the blue jerseys are marching backwards. By the way, the Saints in their home blue jerseys tonight. Blue shirts with blue pants. White letters and numbers with the red trim. And Collinwood in their traveling white jerseys. Blue letters and numbers with the gray pants. Of course, the folks watching on WLCS are able to pick that out. We thank Bob Quinlan and the folks at WLCS for plugging into us for the rebroadcast of this game. Lorain Cable, appreciate that, Robert. Look forward to getting back on Sports Scene this year. Started off in another week with Houston Love, Lorain City Schools Athletic Director.
And that's a 15-yard penalty in the books. In effect, that is about a 33-yard set-off for the Southview team.
Indeed. Buxton back to pass. Hit as he throws the football, and it's incomplete as he hung it down the right side. He was looking for Brandon Neely, one of his wingbacks. I missed what the call was against Southview on the 15-yard penalty. I didn't catch
Actually,
what
I didn't catch that either. I thought it was a holding call, but...
So the holding call went against Southview. That pushed the ball back to the 45-yard line.
Because it was thrown where I generally see a holding call, because it was thrown in the interior line.
Again, Southview leading 6-0. We're down to 5:26 to go here in the first quarter.
And one railroader we've seen a lot of so far, Mike Jones, he was the one that came barreling in on Buxton.
I formation behind Brian Buxton. 2nd down and 24 from the 45-yard line. Buxton fake handoff, hit at the 45, escapes the tackle, sets up, throws downfield, off the hands and incomplete of Vaughn Francis, his tight end, at the 30-yard line. I'll tell you what, Brian Buxton has done a magical act a couple times behind the line of scrimmage, escaping tackles. And then again, I think on the flip side of the coin, if you're Phil Gary of Collinwood, you're saying our guys aren't wrapping him up and bringing him down.
Actually, also, if you're Brian Joyner, even though you like, I think they call it escapability in a quarterback, you don't want him to have to demonstrate it this often in the first quarter.
Yeah, the offensive line needs to tighten up a little bit. I think that's an Archie Bell and the Drell tune, isn't it? Kerry Pelter will know that one. 3rd down and 24 from the 45-yard line. Handoff on a draw play goes to Eddie Daniels, and Daniels hit and dropped immediately at the 45-yard line. So a nice defensive stand there by Collinwood after the penalty against Southview pushed him back to the 45. And now Larry Ward will come on to punt for the Southview Saints.
And in a mini tribute to Jim Tomey, he's out there with one high red sock. The other one, though, is the dark blue. It's one of the few guys out there with a red sock.
Well, it'd be a tribute to the entire Indian team now, the way they're all wearing those socks. For Collinwood, Mike Jones standing at his own 10-yard line. Good snap to Ward. High end-over-end kick. Short kick. Bounces at the 20. And now Jones is going to let it roll inside the 10, inside the 5, and it rolls dead at the 3-yard line. There is a flag on the play, though.
Those were thrown on the snap.
Now, Gary Pelter and I have been doing high school football together for about 12 years now. And I would say that play right there is the biggest craw in Gary's side. He hates when those punt returners don't come up and catch the football. And how many times do you see him just let it roll? And sure enough, it'll take a horrendous bounce. But luckily for Collinwood, the penalty flag was against Southview. So instead of pinning the Railroaders at the 3-yard line, Larry Ward will have to kick it all over again as they march the 5-yard penalty back to the midfield stripe.
20 yards in penalties, but again, they both have been huge. One really short-circuited the Southview drive. The second one kept them from pinning Collinwood back at the 3.
4:25 to go here in the first quarter of play. 6-0. Southview with an early lead. Ward again gets the kick away. High end over end kick. This time Jones comes up the field looking for running room. Gets to the 20 to the 25. He's got some room to rumble to the 40 to the 45 and all the way out to the 48-yard line. Well, there's a 5-yard penalty that ends up being a net result of 45 yards because instead of the Railroaders being at their own 3, they now start off at their own 48-yard line, first down and 10. Gary Pelter on the Southview sideline. Pelt.
Well, Tim, the reason that they got that penalty, not enough men on the field on the line of scrimmage. Actually, for their punting team, they were a little bit short out there. There was a player who didn't know who he was supposed to be on the team. Now the defense has to indeed tighten up, and it was Archie Bell and the Drills.
I thought so. If you didn't answer that, Bill King would have. Sam Mitchell, again under center for Collinwood. First down and 10 for the Railroaders at the 48-yard line. Mitchell hands off to Jones on a reverse play. Jones breaks one tackle, fights his way back to the original line of scrimmage, and may have gained 1 to the 49-yard line.
Mike Jones doing a lot of work for that 1 yard, and Mike Jones doing something that drives most football coaches crazy. He was holding that ball very loose as he was running around behind the line of scrimmage. If the Saints could have snuck up behind him, there could have been a fumble and a turnover and a real break for the Saints. However, nobody was able to catch up with him before he was able to put the ball away.
Let's set that Collinwood offensive line for you. James Jones is the center, a 175-pound junior. Perry Roberts and Brian Hall are the guards. Mitchell Strode and Marcellus Young the tackles. Damon Murphy along with Floyd Tate will alternate in and out at tight end. Tim Name is one wide receiver. Damian Zellers is the other. Again, Sam Mitchell the quarterback. Daniel Morrison, Robert Fisher behind him as running backs. And we've also seen quite a bit of Mike Jones so far tonight. Collinwood decides to take a timeout, so we'll take a break. 3:19 to go, first quarter. 6-0 Southview on the coal mine. Welcome back to George Daniel Field. Second down and 9 from the 49-yard line. Mitchell hands off. Robert Fisher picks his way through the left side, gets into Southview territory before he's driven back at the Saint 46-yard line. Saints in a 4-4 defense this year. Ronnie Marrero, Kyle Crumley are the tackles. Joe Meza will also see some action at defensive tackle for the Saints. Zach Cramp and Darnell Bell on the outside as defensive ends. Bell already with a sack tonight. Inside linebackers, Eddie Gregoric and James Thompson. Vaughn Francis and Bryce Tuck are the outside linebackers. Tony Miller, Frank Witherspoon, and Eddie Daniels are the defensive backs. Brandon Neely will get in there as a DB as well. Third down and 4 for Collinwood. They're at the Saint 47-yard line. 2:35 to go in the opening quarter. And Sam Mitchell looks over and takes another timeout. So obviously Collinwood having some problems on the offensive side of the football as they just can't get their signal straight. And Eric, we'll keep it right here during the timeout. Again, that harkens back to what you mentioned at the outset of the broadcast, the fact that they're putting in a new offensive system and they just don't have all the I's dotted and the T's crossed right now.
And it isn't the typical
left. Damian Zeller split wide to the right, backs offset behind Sam Mitchell. Now Jones walks in motion, handoff to Jones, and that play isn't going anywhere, although he escapes a tackle at the midfield stripe, but down he goes. That play was well read by the Southview defense as Jones simply walked in motion, and once the ball was snapped, he got the handoff, and he was just swarmed under by blue jerseys right at the 50-yard line.
And Bryce Tuck came in off his linebacking position. He was one of the first guys back there to meet Jones. And on that play, there were more Saints than anybody else in the backfield. There were no Railroaders there to match up with them.
And now for Collinwood, a player down at the 50-yard line. By the way, that last WEOL sideline update from Gary Pelter on the Southview bench was brought to you by Quickway Auto Wash at 144 East Bridge Street next to Spitzer. By the way, Eric, I can tell.
We diagnosed from over here. But he does. He seemed to be walking off the field under most of his own power, just a trainer there walking alongside him.
By the way, I can tell the folks at home that there are indeed 20 Railroader fans on the opposite side. I had a chance to count them.
Very good.
And they have spaced themselves out so well. That's the critical thing.
It looks like a full crowd over there.
Morrison to punt, end over end kick, and there's Tony Miller with the football, and he dropped it at the 27-yard line, and the Railroaders say they've got it, and indeed they do. Miller was stripped of the football, and it popped out, and the white jerseys converged and fell on the pigskin at the 27. So now the Railroaders will look to capitalize on a Southview turnover.
And it looks like one of the Saints a bit slow in getting up. On that play, Darnell Bell got great penetration, looked for a split second like he was going to be able to get that punt. However, the Railroaders are able to get it away, much now to their benefit, as they are in deep, deep Southview territory.
And Tony Miller shaken up on the play. Tell you what, Tony Miller is an electrifying player, but he also has the type of instinctive running ability which lends itself to fumbling, because as you're moving and as you're juking and as you're sidestepping, a lot of times that football's moving around as well. And sure enough, for Collinwood, they were able to poke it free and recover the football.
This afternoon, I was flipping around the Indians game, but I also was able to watch a former Lorain County standout in Henry Slay.
For West Virginia.
Former Wolverine, as the Mountaineers knocked off East Carolina. And Henry Slay, it appeared like there were 3 of them out on the field. Outstanding line play for the Mountaineers.
Yeah, Henry was a great one at Elyria West and continuing at West Virginia. So Collinwood trying to capitalize on a big break. First down and 10 at the St. 28-yard line. Mitchell hands off, and Fisher hit at the line of scrimmage, driven back to the 30-yard line. I'll tell you what, he ran into Ronnie Marrero, 280-pound senior for Southview, and he just bounced off Marrero and went backwards about 2 steps.
Which is what most ball carriers are going to be doing when they run into Marrero.
Boy, he plugged the hole, and quickly for Southview right there. Loss of 2 on the play. Second down and 12 now from the 30-yard line. Mike Jones in a wing left formation. Coming wide to the right is one of those players that we don't have a number for. Mitchell hands off. Morrison left side, cuts it back up the middle to the 20, spins away, and is finally dragged down at about the 19-yard line. He'll be a little bit shy of the first down. And for Morrison, that's his 3rd carry of the game. He already has 23 yards. It looks like when they get the ball into Morrison's hands, good things have been happening for the Railroaders so far. He's an exciting kind of player as well.
There's a lot of those guys on the field tonight.
We're down to a minute to go in the first quarter in our Colmeyer Sports Gridiron Clash right here on AM 930 WEOL Elyria Lorain. 6-0, Southview with the lead. If you're just joining us, Tony Miller electrified the crowd. His 5th touchdown of the year on the opening kickoff of the ball game. He went 88 yards. Larry Ward missed on the extra point attempt, and Southview still with that 6-0 advantage. And now the Railroaders looking to capitalize on a fumbled St. punt. They have it 3rd and 1 at the Southview 18-yard line. Sam Mitchell under center. Robert Fisher and Daniel Morrison behind him. Split backfield. Less than a yard to go for the first down. Ball at the left hash mark. Mitchell hands off. Fisher right up the middle with a big hole. Blast into the Southview secondary. He's hit and dropped at about the 10-yard line, but that'll be more than enough for a Collinwood first down. And suddenly the Railroaders are excited about this football game.
And it looks like they're trying to run a little bit on the right side on that play behind big Marcellus Young. You heard a little bit about him on the State Farm pregame show. Sophomore, 6'5", 265. His first ever year of playing organized football. But definitely large enough he can create a few openings, especially as he gets more into the rhythm of play in this game. And he stands out there on the sideline.
First down and goal as the ball is touching the 10-yard line. So Collinwood needs to score a touchdown here. They cannot pick up a first down. Mitchell hands off. Fisher looking for room outside, looking to get to the sideline, and he's finally pushed out of bounds at about the 5. Over there for Southview was Brandon Neely, the 5'8" sophomore, to push Fisher out of bounds. But Fisher was able to get about 5 yards. I think right there, Collinwood was simply relying on Fisher's speed to get to the outside and race to the pylon.
Absolutely, and give a lot of credit to Brandon Neely for stringing that play out and forcing him into the sideline, which really became Southview's 12th defensive player.
21.5 seconds remaining here in the first quarter. The scoreboard clock here at George Daniel Field with the tenths of a second like they have in basketball. Second down and goal from the 5-yard line. Ball at the left hash mark. Split backfield behind Sam Mitchell, the quarterback. Mitchell hands off, and there isn't any room whatsoever for Fisher. Boy, he got hammered. Darnell Bell drove him back. They may give Fisher forward progress back to the line of scrimmage. He never really went down, but Darnell Bell pushed him all the way back to about the 15-yard line, and that will be the final play of the opening quarter. First period in the books here at George Daniel Field in Lorain. After 1, it's the Saints 6-0 over the Collinwood Railroaders and our Colmeyer Sports Gridiron Clash. with the victory and the running of his terrific running back, David Peoples. Here it's 3rd down and goal for Collinwood as we start the second quarter of play. They're at the Southview 6-yard line. Sam Mitchell under quarterback. Fake handoff. Mitchell rolling to the left, keeps it himself, cuts up the middle, and is thrown back at the 6. He ran into Zach Cramp along with Kyle Crumley for Southview, and they stood him up and knocked him back at the 6-yard line.
And it was Crumley who didn't buy into the fake, held his position, and forced Mitchell to turn upfield instead of going around side where his quickness really could be a big advantage. And really just a touchdown-saving play by being in position and playing the position properly.
So let's see what Collinwood elects to do right here. Trailing by 6, 4th down and goal at the Saints 6-yard line, and they're going to go for it. Split backfield behind Sam Mitchell. Damian Zellers split to the left, the short side of the field. Now Morrison walks in motion. Mitchell, fake handoff, rolling to the right, and he's plowed under at the 8-yard line. That play wasn't going anywhere. And once again, Darnell Bell was in on the stop for Southview. Also there for the Saints, James Thompson, their sophomore inside linebacker.
And it looked like what they wanted to do was run the option play. However, the Saints were able to get into what would generally be considered a passing lane if this were basketball, so he wasn't able to run the pitch. He had to take it himself, and there was just nowhere to go.
So the Saints take over on downs. 1st down and 10. Football at the 11-yard line. Sometimes the yard markers at the far ends are kind of confusing because the soccer lines is there as well. So you have to make sure you're looking at the right one. Ball's at the 11 for Southview. They lead it 6-0. I formation behind Brian Buxton. Buxton hands off, big hole. Eddie Daniels gets outside to the right side, and he's tripped up at the 18-yard line. Coming up to make the stop for Collinwood was Tim Name. Pickup of about 8 yards for Eddie Daniels. That'll make it 2nd down and 2. Don't forget, after the ball game tonight, we'll have the Everfresh post-game show, including our Everfresh Player of the Game award. Matt Wilhelm of Elyria Catholic, the recipient of that honor last night. He rumbled for 2 scores in Elyria Catholic's rout of Lorain Catholic last night. Buxton hands off, and the fullback, Eddie Gregoric, is actually thrown for a loss back to the 18-yard line. He'll be short of the 1st down. We'll set up a 3rd down situation for Southview.
And you hate to lose yardage when you go with the fullback up the middle every now and then. You like to give that look just so that the defense respects the fullback and they don't just pay only attention to the tailbacks. However, you can't afford to give up yardage on that kind of a play, especially when you have it 2nd down and short.
So now it's 3rd and 2 for the Saints as we're under 10 minutes to go in the 1st half. Southview now goes back to that wishbone formation with Gregoric the lead back. There's movement in the line. Southview clapping, saying we drew the Railroaders offside, and we'll pick up a free 1st down, and indeed that will be the case. An encroachment penalty against Collinwood, and Southview picks up the 1st down without the benefit of a play.
And actually, I think Saints might have caught a little bit of a break because it looked like the right tackle for Southview flinched a little bit.
Yeah, I thought Joe Meza moved a little bit as well. Gary Pelter on the Saints sideline. Pelt.
I think you gentlemen are absolutely correct. The right tackle did flinch a little bit, but the defensive man had broke the plane and made contact beforehand.
Okay. Down
here on the Southview sidelines, tailback running back Eddie Daniels came off with the cramps after he made that nice 9-yard run.
Handoff up the middle and a fumble on the play out over the 45, and I think Collinwood has it. Indeed they do, or excuse me, out over the 35 at about the 37-yard line. Witherspoon coughed it up for Southview. So Frank Witherspoon turns the ball over for Southview, and Collinwood again try to take advantage of a Southview fumble. One on a punt and now one on a running play, and Witherspoon had burst up the middle, put together a nice run, but out came the football.
And on that play, and I'm sure that Brian Joyner, whoever the right assistant coach for the offensive team, is going to be talking to him, as it looks like he's getting a little bit of work for some cramps. held the ball out front, sort of like a drum major holding his baton instead of tucking the ball away, and it really gave the Railroaders the opportunity to create this turnover.
So Collinwood gets it right back. First down and 10 at the St. 39-yard line. 9:15 to go in the first half. Hand off to Fisher up the middle. He's got room. Tripped up at the 32-yard line. Coming up defensively, Eddie Daniels for Southview, and basically upended Robert Fisher, but not before Fisher picked up about 8 yards to the 31-yard line. That WEOL sideline update from Gary Pelter was brought to you by the Ankle and Foot Center in Lorain. They love feet at the Ankle and Foot Center. Call 246-1200. Second down and 2. Ball at the 31-yard line of Southview.
Now remember, because of those turnovers and because of the touchdown on the opening possession, that Southview defense has been out there a long time this half.
They've been out there a long time. Damian Zeller splits to the left. Jones in a wing left. And now Jones again simply walks in motion. Jones gets the handoff right side, and he's dragged down from behind. Once again, Darnell Bell was there for Southview. Tell you what, Darnell Bell taking the lead in the race for the Everfresh Player of the Game award, because he has been a standout defensively for the Saints.
And again, he chased down that play, and that end-around play to Jones just has not fooled anyone so far. I'd be kind of surprised if we see it for a long time. I wouldn't be using it anyway.
Third down and 6 now, as Bell brought Jones down at the 36-yard line. Actually, it's a long 6, short 7 for the first down. Again, Jones in a wing left, split backs behind Sam Mitchell. And now Morrison walks in motion. Mitchell, fake handoff, throws, incomplete. Looking for Jones. Even if Jones had caught the football, he would have been about 5 yards shy of the first down, but Tony Miller came up and gave him a little pop just to make sure.
And Tony Miller was there for the coverage, so that play really had no chance of getting the first down.
So Collinwood doesn't capitalize on the Southview turnover, and they will again punt the football back to the Saints. And now Brian Joyner says, we don't have our signal straight special teams wise. We're going to take a timeout. So we will as well. 7:35 to go in the first half. 6-0 Southview. Morrison punts for Collinwood, and it rolls out of bounds at the 13-yard line, and Darnell Bell almost had a huge block for Southview as he just missed the football. And if Darnell Bell had gotten to the football, that thing may have carried right back up to him, and he could have raced a long way, Eric.
And once again, Darnell, that's the second time on a punt that Darnell Bell has been back there and has just missed the block punt. He is getting tremendous acceleration off of the line, and it looks like he is spending most of this game in the Railroaders' backfield.
Down below us, Eric Kinder. I understand that Dan Turnus, Southview head wrestling coach, has us dialed in as he runs the concession stand tonight. So, Dan, hope you enjoy the ball game. What a wrestling program they have at Southview. Just years of greatness. Collinwood now jumps offside, so Southview will pick up a free 5 yards, and it will be 1st and 5 now from the 19-yard line. Dan Turnus was gracious enough tonight to pass along a hot dog and a popcorn to me. Tim Begaznik, did he pass along this Coke as well? Indeed he did. They don't come any better than Dan Turnus.
Not that that would color our commentary in any way.
Oh,
but
no,
if there are
not
any
at all.
Railroader fans out there listening, it may not hurt.
1st and 5 now from the 19-yard line. I formation behind Brian Buxton. Southview with a 6-0 lead. Buxton hands off. Frank Witherspoon again carrying that ball like a loaf of bread, but he gets outside to the 40 to the 45 before he's wrestled out of bounds and then thrown down to the ground on the bench. And there comes the flag. The defensive back for Collinwood simply wouldn't let go of Frank Witherspoon, and in doing so, the flag flies right in the Southview bench.
And that's a very good call, because by the time he was wrestled down, he was past the coach's box out there. Almost saw again the lines out there for the soccer field, but they have that coaching box, and it looked like he was thrown outside of that. That's a 2-yard buffer zone, and there's just no reason for that.
So the personal foul call against Collinwood will now give Southview great field position as they march it all the way to the Railroader 34-yard line. Southview had to sprint up about 20 yards to get over the football. 1st and 10 now for the Saints at the Collinwood 34-yard line. I formation. Buxton pitches left side, Eddie Daniels. Daniels with room, gets to the 25, outside to the 20, to the 15, pushed out of bounds, close to the 10-yard line, but a flag is laying on the ground at about the 25-yard line. So we'll wait and see what the call is.
And I think the initial signal I saw was a hold. It was in there during the run where you tend to see some sort of illegal block.
Indeed, that is the preliminary indication from the official. So that'll march it back. Eddie Daniels had ripped off a nice gain, but it's for naught. Holding penalty will be assessed against the Southview Saints. This is one of only 3 Saturday ball games we'll have this year on AM 930 WEOL. A little bit later on this month, we'll have Elyria Catholic at Notre Dame Cathedral Latin. And then in October, Elyria at East Cleveland Shaw. And that's it as far as Saturday high school football is concerned.
Barring any playoff action that would take place on a Saturday.
Buxton on a draw play gives the ball to Witherspoon. Witherspoon again holding that ball way out there, gets down to the 25-yard line before he's collared from behind by Floyd Tate, the inside linebacker for the Railroaders. I'm not sure who the running back coach is for Southview, but they look at the films this week. They're going to say, Frank, we're going to work on you tucking that ball in.
I would hope so.
Tim, I got to tell you, down here on the sidelines, as he's running the football, the coaches are yelling, hold on to the ball. They've already lost 2 fumbles this evening. They don't want to lose another one and miss another scoring opportunity. Southview running the ball real well, but turnovers have been a problem thus far.
2nd down and 1 from the 25-yard line. Quick hitter up the middle to Gregoric, the fullback, and he fights his way to the 21-yard line, and that'll be a 1st down for the Saints.
And that's what you like to see on that quick hitter to the fullback, just enough on those short yardage plays that you're able to get that 1st down and just keep the defense a little bit honest. So they're looking for that quick play right up the gut.
We're down to 6:20 to go in the 1st half. Southview leading 6-0, the only score in the ball game. Tony Miller took the opening kickoff and raced 88 yards for a touchdown. And that's been it. Southview wasn't able to convert on the extra point. They lead it 6-0. And now the official blows the whistle. A little bit of an equipment problem for Collinwood as they adjust the helmet of Floyd Tate. That WEOL sideline update from Gary Pelter was brought to you by Quitway Auto Wash at 144 East Bridge Street next to Spitzer in Elyria.
Interesting test now in the Lake Erie League.
1st and 10 from the 22, draw play, Eddie Daniels. Daniels scampering behind the line of scrimmage, now breaks free. He's to the 20, to the 15, to the 10, cuts it back up the middle, and finally swarmed under at about the 8-yard line. Eddie Daniels with some fancy dancing in the backfield, and Daniels brings it all the way down inside the 10 to about the 8-yard line for the Southview Saints.
And the one thing that is true for the running backs on both of these teams is even when you think that the play is over, they have the ability, the athleticism to turn it into a big gainer. On that play, Daniels had no business getting any yardage. I mean, he should have been losing 5, let alone getting another 1st down.
1st down and goal now for Southview. They are at the Collinwood 9-yard line. Wishbone formation behind Brian Buxton. Ball at the left hash mark. Buxton hands off, right side. Tony Miller looking for the pylon, and he got there for the touchdown. So Tony Miller lines up in the backfield, gets the handoff, and simply outraces the Collinwood defenders to the end zone. It is now 12-0 Southview with 5:19 to go in the 1st half. Boy, he is an exciting player for the Saints.
And it's great to have a guy like that you can use near the end zone because he just finds a way to get across the goal line and pick up those points for the Saints.
Well, Tony Miller with his 2nd touchdown of the night. He now has 6 on the season. The Saints trying to go for the 2-point conversion, confused offensively, so they elect to take a timeout as Tony Miller and Brian Buxton look over to the bench. Say, Coach, we're not quite sure what we want to do here, so they elect to take the timeout.
What happened was they want the football on the left hash, and it was lined up in the middle, but there was some confusion getting the quarterback to relay that information to the official, so therefore they took the timeout. They want the ball on the left hash, probably going to run to the right.
Yeah, I would have some tremendous speed, and they have a number of different players that can break it, which makes it just nightmares for defensive coordinators.
Well, the ball is now at the left hash mark. Gregoric and Miller in the backfield behind Brian Buxton. Buxton under center, rolling to the right, flags fly. Buxton's going to keep it himself and leap into the end zone for the 2-point conversion. But hold on, there are flags on the play. And Chuck Bryant voicing his displeasure with something right there next to Gary Pelter. Gary, what is Chuck's problem right now?
Boomer was less than pleased with his wide receiver's choice of where he was supposed to line up on that play, especially after calling the timeout. He had it was number 88, Jason Yates, was supposed to be lined up wide to the right side, and I believe he was either running a fly or an out to basically take the cornerback out of the play so the quarterback could take the ball into the end zone. But he was not lined up in the proper position, and therefore the penalty.
5-yard penalty against Southview, so that wipes out the 2-point conversion. They'll try it again. 5:19 to go in the first half. 12-0 Southview. Tony Miller has just scampered 9 yards for a score. And now the Saints looking for the 2-point conversion. Again, the ball is at the left hash mark. Again, Gregoric and Tony Miller behind Brian Buxton. Buxton rolling to the right, lobs it right side. Tony Miller was never looking for the football. Put a block on the Collinwood defender. Unfortunately, he was supposed to catch the pass. So the 2-point conversion fails, but the Saints now with a 2-touchdown lead. It's 12-0. 5:19 to go in the first half on our Colmeyer Sports Gridiron Clash.
Please tackle him.
Mike Jones with a nice kickoff return for Collinwood as he brings it out over the 40-yard line. So the Railroaders will have excellent field position. First down and 10. 5:09 to go in the first half. And Collinwood down by 12. Tony Miller with a couple of touchdowns for the Saints as they lead it 12-0.
And on that 2-point play, I just wanted to say Brian Buxton really had no chance. The Railroader defense all over him, and apparently under high school rules in the state of Ohio, a 2-point play, once it's intercepted, if it should be intercepted, plays dead. Defense can't do anything with it, so he wisely just sort of threw the ball out there, hoping Miller might be able to do something with it better than taking the sack, because there's no real risk.
You hope he can do something acrobatic with it. If anybody can do that, Tony Miller could.
It's a good gamble throwing it in just Miller's vicinity.
First down and 10 for the Railroaders at their own 47-yard line. They're down by 12. Mitchell pitches to Morrison. Morrison gets a block, gets to the midfield stripe, bounces away from a tackler, and is thrown down at the 47-yard line. Boy, Daniel Morrison showing a low center of gravity right there. He was bounced, and he almost went down. He spun around, managed to keep his knee off the ground, went down at the same 48-yard line. That was about as impressive a 5-yard carry as you're going to see.
And Morrison has looked very good so far, and that was Tony Miller that he hit and bounced off of. And Miller, while very athletic, very acrobatic, not exactly the largest player out there, and that's why he wasn't able just to make the quick contact tackle.
Mike Jones to the right, Damian Zellers to the left, split backfield behind Sam Mitchell on a 2nd down and 5 from the 48-yard line. Pitch goes to Fisher. Fisher right side, breaks a tackle, gets to the 45, and he's finally dragged down by his shirt tail at the 43-yard line. He'll be close to the first down. Maybe inches shy. Let's see where they spot that football.
I wouldn't be surprised if they bring the chains out for a measurement, because my first thought is that he had it.
Well, they are indeed going to bring the chains out.
Now on that play, I'm going to
No, they're going to just... Well, go ahead.
I was going to say, I'm going to give you one guess as to which Saint nearly intercepted that lateral pass.
I would have to say Darnell Bell.
And you're absolutely right. Bell was, again, in the backfield. It was a terrific pitch by Sam Mitchell, his best pass of the night, to elude Bell.
And just by the nose of the football, Collinwood with the first down. 4:13 to go in the first half. The Railroaders looking to get on the board as they trail 12-0 to Southview. Saints looking to go 2-0 on the year after they destroyed Lincoln West last Friday night 61-6 here at George Daniel Field. First down and 10. Mitchell hands off, and Fisher stacked up after about a 1-yard gain. At the bottom of the pile for Southview, James Thompson. And also coming up from the pile, Eddie Gregoric for the Saints. They stopped Fisher after about a gain of 1.
And again, this is really what the Railroaders want to do. They want to try to grind out this game. Now, the problem is with under 3.5 minutes here in the second quarter, they don't have a lot of time, especially with only the one timeout. But they've been very unsuccessful when they've had to go to the passing game.
Freddie Hodges now in the game for Collinwood. Splits to the left. Jones is to the right. Mitchell tries to run the option play, and he is buried at the original line of scrimmage. He lost a couple of yards on that play. Big Ronnie Marrero, the 280-pound senior for Southview, leading the charge. And, well, I guess there was a fumble on the play. I didn't catch that. So Southview's offense now comes out into the field. My apologies. I didn't see that football pop loose down there, and the Saints obviously recovered it. Here comes Brian Buxton and the gang for Southview. First down and 10 at their own 42-yard line.
I didn't see it either, and I didn't see the offense and the Saints team reacting like they had just recovered a fumble.
They weren't enthusiastic about it, were they?
No.
Buxton pitches right side. Witherspoon to the 50. He's to the 45, to the 40, down the sideline, 35, 30, 25, 20, ridden out of bounds at the Collinwood 18-yard line. Well, Witherspoon may be dangerous in the way he holds that football, but he's a dangerous weapon for Southview as well. Boy, he got up ahead of steam, and he just barreled down that right sideline. Fortunately for Collinwood, their defenders had the angle of attack to track him down, but still, Witherspoon rips off a huge gain for the Saints.
That was a 40-yard pickup there for Witherspoon, but what was truly incredible is he actually ran about 50 yards with the ball because the pitch was so far back behind the line of scrimmage. And give the wide receivers for this Saint team a lot of credit. They made terrific blocks downfield.
Gregoric and Daniels now behind Buxton in an I formation. Pitch goes to Daniels left side. Daniels looking to get outside. Flag on the play. Daniels extends himself and got in for the touchdown. But again, let's hold on. A flag on the play. Boy, that was a gorgeous run by Daniels as he leaped into the end zone and extended the football.
And it's against the Saints. It looks like another hold.
Brian Joyner here on the near side, not happy with the call. Gary Pelter here on the near side perhaps can explain it. Gary?
Well, Tim and Eric, I think definitely we had a hold, and you were saying the wide receivers and backs down the field do an excellent job of holding their blocks and giving those running backs something to cut off of. I think that time he got caught holding a little bit more than his block that time.
So instead of a touchdown for Southview, the ball now back to the 23-yard line where it's 1st and 15. We're down to 2:50 to go in the first half. Southview looking to add to a 12-0 lead. Tony Miller with a couple of touchdowns for the Saints. Returned the opening kickoff, 88 yards for a score, and then ran one in from 9 yards out earlier this period. Buxton pitches to Witherspoon. Witherspoon right side, breaks a tackle, leaps over another, and gets to about the 7-yard line. Witherspoon sort of puts your heart in your mouth every time he carries the football.
Another terrific run, and Brian Buxton getting rid of that about a split second before he went down. I was amazed. A lot of quarterbacks would have just eaten it under that situation so that they don't risk the bad pitch there and with that opportunity to score.
Now 2nd down. The ball is at the 8-yard line. 2:13 to go here in the first half. Full house backfield behind Brian Buxton. Buxton, quick handoff right up the middle and fighting inside close to the goal line to about the 2. I believe was Gregoric on that carry.
It looked like it was the fullback running straight up the middle.
Let's see who emerges. Indeed it was Gregoric. First down and goal now for the Saints, and we're under 2 minutes to go in the second quarter. Southview looking to add to their 12-0 lead. Saints quickly break the huddle. I don't think Brian Buxton said 2 words in that huddle. Again, wishbone formation, double tight end. Buxton under center. Hands off, left side Witherspoon, breaks a tackle and gets into the end zone. Frank Witherspoon with the score, and certainly he deserved it on that drive right there, as he had an outstanding drive, and he caps it off with a 3-yard touchdown run, and the Saints now lead it 18-0 with 1:39 to go in the first half.
And in this drive, we saw a lot of excellent blocking by the Saints up front. That time, however, it was really all Frank Witherspoon. He earned that one by himself, eluding 3 different tacklers on the 3-yard jaunt.
And now the Saints will attempt to kick the extra point. Larry Ward booms it through, but the whistles blow before the play is completed. Boy, extra point attempts for Southview tonight have not gone well.
And I can imagine one thing that we are going to be seeing Southview working on in this upcoming week of practice is you do not want to have this many problems on your extra points. These guys should be drilled well enough to know where they have to be, when they have to get out there.
Well, I tell you what, they called it offsides on the defense.
Okay.
That time it was the Railroaders going a little offsides.
Good call, Gary.
Southview will go for 2.
Indeed, they're going to line up now and say, let's go for the 2-point conversion. We're a yard closer. Again, double tight end. Full house backfield behind Brian Buxton. Buxton hands off, right side Miller, fighting. He didn't get there. He got thrown back at the 1-yard line. So the Collinwood Railroaders rise to the occasion on the 2-point conversion. But Southview with an 18-0 lead, 1:39 to go in the first half on our Colemeyer Sports Gridiron Clash. Of course, it all gets underway at 6 o'clock with the Krastowski Tractor football forecast. Larry Ward approaches the football and kicked it very, very short to the Collinwood 40-yard line, but it won't matter anyway because flags flew.
Tim, I got to tell you, I think that was done on purpose. Standing right down here by Coach Brian Joyner, and when the ball landed, he was a little bit upset because it went pretty much where he wanted it to go. I think, of course, with the speed of the Southview Saints, he thought maybe he had a chance to get that ball back.
Yeah, he was kicking it in between the up line and the second line for Collinwood. Indeed, it fell right in between the two, so Larry Ward will tee it up again at the 35-yard line, and this time he kicks it deep down the sideline. Morrison picks up the ball at the 30 and looking to escape tackler as he can. He actually went backwards and was dropped at about the 26-yard line. So Daniel Morrison wasn't able to generate anything there for Collinwood. And now with 1:32 to go in the first half, the Railroaders will get it back trailing 18-0.
We got the momentum and everything. You don't want to
And Collinwood really is going to be bemoaning the fact they had a couple of great opportunities. They had the ball thanks to a couple of fumbles in Southview territory, but they weren't able to do anything with them.
You know that.
Southview, on the other hand, has been able to march over the long field and pick up a couple of touchdowns.
Southview running game has been very impressive tonight. First down and 10 for the Railroaders at their own 27-yard line. Jones in a wing right. Now Morrison simply walks in motion, and I think Collinwood may have taken too long in getting that play under. Well, actually, they'll call him for a legal procedure.
It looked like the left tackle or left end jumped just a split second.
And you can sense Collinwood starting to lose a little interest in this football game right here. They're having some concentration problems right now. Trailing by 18 with 1:32 to go in the first half. Well, Eric and Gary, a special hello goes out tonight to Southview basketball coach and his lovely wife, Val. Larry Stark and Val Stark sitting right below us in the stands here at George Daniel Field. But I did have to give Val a hard time. She didn't bring us cookies tonight, Gary. Usually during the basketball season, Val will bring us some cookies when we're over at Southview.
Always look forward to Val Stark's cookies.
But no, not tonight. First and 15. Handoff and a big hole for Fisher. Bounces off Miller at the 40-yard line and then is hit and dropped at the 40. Tony Miller came up and literally tried to body slam Fisher to the ground. That didn't work, and he was finally collared at the 40-yard line.
He just laid into him with his shoulder, and you can see Fisher bounce back, but stayed on his feet.
I'll tell you what, Tim, you mentioned it a little bit earlier that, of course, Bob Quinlan up there for WLCS TV taping this game. It's definitely worth watching it this week on TV. There's a lot of great plays and a lot of great hits, and that was one of them.
Oh, look at Gary getting the plug in just so he'd get a little camera time down there. First down and 10 from the 40-yard line. Mitchell fakes the pitch, keeps it himself, and gets to the 45-yard line.
And I have a feeling it's going to work, too.
Oh, that was bad. Gary Pelter has been dying for his shot on WLCS TV, and he gives Quinlan the plug to get one.
You got to do what you got to do.
We're down to under 30 seconds to go in the first half. Ball spotted at the 45-yard line, and Collinwood doesn't appear to be in any sort of hurry.
They did the full huddle up on that play.
Split backfield behind Mitchell. Mike Jones split to the right. Mitchell hands off, and no room whatsoever for the fullback, Robert Fisher.
Fumble.
We're down to 9.4 seconds to go, and the Saints indeed came up with the football. Guess who came up with it, Eric Kinder?
Oh, I'm going to guess it was Darnell Bell.
Darnell Bell for Southview came up with it at the 45-yard line of Collinwood.
9 seconds.
9.4 seconds. So Collinwood's defense comes out. So what do you think Southview's chances are of trying to get the ball in Tony Miller's hands right here? Miller splits to the right. Brian Buxton under center, I formation. Buxton straight drop. He's going to send Miller on a fly pattern. Buxton hangs it deep, and the pass is intercepted at the 15. But we do have a flag down as Miller ended up going down at the 15-yard line. Now let's see what the call is. It's offensive interference against Tony Miller. They're going to say he pushed off and trying to get to the football. So indeed, Southview tried to get the ball to Tony Miller as they simply sent him on the old fly pattern down the right sideline. You run as fast as you can, and I'll throw it as deep as I can, and we'll see if we can hook up.
And Collinwood wasn't fooled because there were 2 railroaders on him the whole way.
So now I'm sure we'll see Sam Mitchell simply take a knee right here. Railroaders trailing 18-0. 3.2 seconds to go in the first half.
Well, there seems to be a little bit of confusion as to where they're going to actually place the ball. Because after the interception, of course, it's back around the 14-yard line.
Indeed, as Gary Pelter mentioned, the officials having a discussion about the 20-yard line.
Yeah, and of course, Collinwood would decline the penalty, therefore, to get the football.
The penalty is declined.
Right, they aren't able to get both the football and the penalty.
Yeah, you can only get one or the other. And I'm sure Phil Gary telling his team right here, let's just take a knee, go to the locker room, regroup, see if we can get back in this football game in the second half.
And they are in the safety offensive set.
Consecutive win to open up the 97 campaign, leading the Railroaders of Collinwood High School 18-0 at the half. When we come back, we'll bring you the Center Road Nursery and Farms Half College. The second half is underway. Mike Jones fields the kickoff at the 5 for Collinwood. Has a gaping hole up the middle. He's to the 45, to the 50, to the 45, and dragged down from behind. Brandon Neely was the last guy that could have got him, and he did as he brought him to the turf at the 42-yard line of Southview. Boy, Mike Jones with a terrific return, and I'll tell you what, me, Gary, and Eric could have ran through that hole that opened up special teams-wise. He had a huge hole to run through.
Well, you and Gary maybe. I probably couldn't have gotten through it, but I would have had a chance.
What about you, Pelt?
I could have made it. I don't know how far I would have gone, but I could have made it through the hole.
So it's first down and 10 for Collinwood. Boy, we've had 2 terrific kickoff returns to start each half. Of course, to start the ball game, Tony Miller went 88 yards for Southview to give them a score on this first touch of the ball game for Tony Miller. And now to start the second half, Mike Jones with a great return for Collinwood. First down and 10 for the Railroaders. They go left to right on your radio dial here in the second half of play. Their first play from the line of scrimmage is disastrous, though, as Robert Fisher is thrown for about a 5-yard loss after getting the pitch from Sam Mitchell.
And the Collinwood, when they work on a standard pitch play, they can get some great acceleration, but as long as they're trying to run the option attack that you associate with the wing T, they have all sorts of problems, and Southview storms under them.
Well, Sam Mitchell is also very close to the line of scrimmage as he works his way down the line. He's got to at least back up a step or two. Loss of 5 on that play. Second down and 15. Darnell Bell was in on the stop for Southview. Again, Jones in a wing left. Mitchell, hands off, left side, Daniel Morrison. Morrison gets back to the original line of scrimmage. Boy, that was a quick whistle as Morrison was fighting for yardage. And he appeared to still be moving forward, but they whistled him down after a gain of about 6.
And I think one of the reasons why it looks like Mitchell is running so close to the line of scrimmage is because Southview is winning at the point of attack. And so they are pushing the Railroaders' offensive line back a step.
So it's now 3rd down and 9. Again for Southview defensively, Ronnie Marrero, we've mentioned his name a few times tonight. At inside tackle with Kyle Crumley, Zach Cramp, and Darnell Bell are the defensive ends. We've mentioned Bell's name a whole lot of times. James Thompson and Eddie Gregoric are the inside linebackers with Vaughn Francis and Bryce Tuck on the outside. Tony Miller, Frank Witherspoon, and Eddie Daniels are the defensive backs. 3rd down and 9 for Collinwood at the Southview 43-yard line. Mike Jones in a wing right. Mitchell, fake handoff, rolling to the left. Looks, throws, and he underthrew his receiver at the 35-yard line. And that receiver, who we've yet to get a name on, number 7 for Collinwood, was wide open. Mitchell simply underthrew him as he rushed the pass.
Marrero got good penetration on that play, and it looked like Mitchell just short-armed that pass.
You know who that number 7 reminds me of? We'll go back in time a little bit. Number 7, Eddie Bell for the New York Jets. Remember Eddie Bell? Little Eddie Bell, Joe Namath used to throw him the football quite a bit. Remember that name, Pell?
I didn't follow the New York Jets very much at about that time.
Yeah, but as an NFL fan, you should know that name,
yeah.
Eddie Bell.
Once in a while, late night on those ESPN shows, you happen to run across him.
Morrison with the punt. Miller's going to field it at the 5-yard line. Tony with running room. He gets to the 15, to the 20, to the 25. There goes a flag. He's to the 35, the 40, to the 50, to the 45, 40. Breaks a tackle. 35, 30, 25, 20. He's to the 10, 5. Touchdown, but I think they're going to bring it back. Tony Miller went 95 yards on the punt return, but I think they're going to bring it all the way back.
There's the official at the 23-yard line saying, hey guys, come on back to me.
Oh my, Tony Miller can bring a crowd to its feet instantaneously.
And just a phenomenal move he put on the last man he had to beat at the 40-yard line. Phew. As Miller took that ball on the fly at the 5, and that is one where I'm sure the coaching staff is going, no, you let that one hit, you let that one go into the end zone. That is until you see him accelerate. Then it's a very good move.
Tony Miller, as you say, Eric, just left that guy standing there at the 40-yard line. He had a full head of steam and just juked him right out of his shoes at the 40. That was a great move.
But we have offsetting penalties. We have an unsportsmanlike conduct on the Railroaders and a clip against the Saints.
And Tony Miller comes to the Southview bench.
And I have to tell you, down here on the Southview bench, the coaches are particularly unhappy with that call because they don't feel that any of their players actually hit the man that the clip was called against. He fell down on his own.
Gary, is that Tony on the ground behind you? Did he cramp up a little bit? Or is that another player?
Yeah, that is not Tony. That is Witherspoon down there on the ground. He cramped up earlier in the defensive series, and that's been the biggest things that the Saints have been battling tonight is cramps down here on the sidelines, keeping the trainers busy, stretching them out.
Usually week 2 of the season can be a warm night. You'll see cramping. It's not cold by any means, but I wouldn't call this a particularly warm night. And yet, as you say, the Saints have had their players cramp up as far as legs are concerned. You can see them being worked on here on the near side. Well, we've got offsetting penalties, and the football will be spotted now at the 11-yard line.
Well,
So
I'm confused.
So Southview takes over first down and 10. When you talked with John Dickerson a week or so ago, did he mention any new rules about offsetting penalties?
Nope. You know, he ran down all of the rules.
Handoff right side, looking for room is Eddie Daniels. Daniels comes up the middle. He's to the 30, sidesteps a tackler, sidesteps another to the 35, looking to get outside, straight arms a tackler, and finally thrown down at the 38-yard line, and we'll get a late flag. They may have gotten him by the face mask. Either that or another late hit in the Southview bench. I think either way it's going to go against Southview. Oh, excuse me, against Collinwood.
No, I think you're right, and it looked to me on that time that they had actually made contact and were driving him out of bounds before they got to the out-of-bounds stripe. So I would imagine that somewhere along the lines they got a face mask.
And indeed, that's what we have, a face masking call against Collinwood. By the way, that last WEOL sideline update from Gary Peltzer was brought to you by the Ankle and Foot Center in Lorain. They love feet at the Ankle and Foot Center. Call 246-1200. Indeed, they'll march it off 15 yards against Collinwood. So Southview now has it at the Railroader 45-yard line. The Saints leading 18-0. A touchdown in the first quarter on an 88-yard kickoff return by Tony Miller to start the ball game. Two more scores in the second. Tony Miller with a 9-yard run, and Frank Witherspoon with a 3-yard run. That's where we stand, 18-zip Southview. Pitch goes to Frank Witherspoon. Witherspoon gets to the right side, gets outside, and is dropped inside the 40 at about the 39-yard line, but a pickup of about 6 for Frank Witherspoon.
And you'll always take a gain of that on a first down play.
9:19 to go in the third quarter. Second down and 4 from the 39.
Witherspoon a little slow in getting up. Looks like that cramping problem affecting him again as he's walking over with the trainer to the sideline benches.
Ball spotted at the right hash mark. The Saints going right to left on your radio dial here in the third quarter of play. Tony Miller splits wide to the left. Gregoric and Eddie Daniels behind Brian Buxton in an I formation on a second down and 4. Buxton hands off. Daniel right side has a crease, gets up the middle and gets down inside the 30 to about the 29-yard line. Damian Zellers brought him down, but Eddie Daniels picks up a first down for the Saints.
And a very quick hitter again. They just seem to find ways to get upfield very quickly, and they're hitting that line hard. That running game has been outstanding so far for Southview.
Dan Turnus has made his way up to the press box. And after all those nice plugs, all those nice things I had to say about Dan. Bob Quinlan, you think we should let him back on Sports Scene this year or what? First down and 10 from the 29. Buxton back to pass. Sack. Drop the football at the 35. There's a scramble for it. And let's see. Collinwood is saying, we got the football. We haven't had an official signal yet. Still waiting. Let's see what the call is. Well, now the officials are going to huddle. And let's see if they say Brian Buxton's arm was moving forward. He was looking for Tony Miller on a fly pattern, and he got popped. And the ball squirted free. Well, I guess they're just going to say Southview recovered the football at the 37-yard line. So a loss of about 8 on the play.
Quite a break there for Southview. Because when that ball came loose, there were only Railroaders around the ball.
So now it's 3rd and 18 from the 37-yard line. Damius Crawford goes to the right. Tony Miller splits to the left. I formation. Quick hitter complete to Miller. Miller on the left side. Sidesteps a tackler. Gets to the 20, 15, 10, and he's ridden out of bounds inside the 10-yard line. He got pushed from behind as he sidestepped the tackler and tried to tiptoe to the pylon. Couldn't quite regain and retain his balance, and he simply fell out of bounds at about the 8-yard line.
That's your simple flat pass for about 27 yards.
Boy, he is electrifying. He's fun to watch.
I'll tell you what, you see so many coaches run that play, and very few of them actually gain any yardage on it, but Tony Miller is so explosive, he's able to turn that 2-yard gain into 27.
Brandon Neely and Damius Crawford both split wide to the right. Handoff to Daniel, spins away from a tackler and gets down to about the 5-yard line, pickup of 3. That'll make it second down and goal from the 5. 7 minutes left here in the third quarter. Southview looking to add to their 18-0 lead. And the Saints looking to go 2-0 on the year.
And this could well be the kind of a score that pretty much ends the ball game. I can't see Collinwood mounting the 3 or 4 possessions they will need.
Interesting note, Eric and Gary, that last year Southview scored 88 total points, total, for the 10-game season. And already this year they're at 79. 61 in the opening ball game and 18 tonight. And now before Southview can snap the football, we've got a flag encroachment call against Collinwood, so that'll move it 2.5 yards closer. Ball will be spotted inside the 3. Second and goal now from the 2-yard line. 6:35 to go in the third quarter. I formation behind Brian Buxton. Eddie Daniels, the deep back in the I, movement in the line of scrimmage. And I think Collinwood again jumped offside.
I think they jumped again, and if so, that is, yeah, there's the signal. That is their 6th penalty overall, and their 3rd in this drive.
So if you're at the 2.5-yard line, do you now move to the 1 1/4?
Yes. They're now at the 1 yard, 9-inch line.
We'll call. Oh, you're very good. We'll call it the 1, though. We won't get too technical. Second and goal from the 1. Again, Eddie Daniels is the deep back in the I. Eddie Gregoric, the up back in front of him. Buxton on a quarterback sneak, and he didn't get there, and perhaps the ball came loose. Let's see. I believe Southview was able to come up with the football. Zach Cramp, I think, fell on it. Buxton may have lost about a half yard. Let's see where they spot it.
Well, Buxton came up the quarterback with the old goose play for the center.
Goose and scoot?
That's right.
That's what Ralph Mayer calls that play.
They don't even actually call any signal count. They just kind of nudge the center and get the ball.
That's called goose and scoot. Third and goal now from the 1-yard line. Either had a late goose or not a good scoot. Handoff goes to Gregoric, and Gregoric is thrown back. He lost about a yard to the 2-yard line. So Collinwood's defense showing a little pride right here. Down 18-0 on the scoreboard, but coming up with a pretty decent defensive stand, as now it is 4th and goal for Southview at the 1-yard line. In comes Jason Yates with the play. Brian Buxton huddles the troops. Let's see what Boomer Bryant and Bob Kleiner and Brian Joyner and the rest of the Southview staff come up with right here. I formation behind Buxton. Gregoric in motion. Pitch goes to Daniels, and he leaps into the end zone for the touchdown. So on 4th and goal, Daniels gets the score, and it is now 24-0 with 5:08 to go in the third quarter. And for Daniels, that is his first touchdown of the evening.
Wound up 6 points deep into the end zone.
Gregoric went in motion, and they simply pitched the ball to Daniels, who followed right behind him. And now Larry Ward will attempt the extra point for Southview. Bobbled snap. Ward tries to get the kickoff. Unfortunately, he can't. And the holder, Jason Yates, is smothered at the 10-yard line. 24-0. Southview is 0 for 4 on extra point attempts, but they lead the football game. 5:08 to go in the third quarter on our Colmeyer Sports Gridiron Clash, I believe.
And a very impressive drive by Southview. 9 plays, 3 penalties.
Robert Williams short squib kick for Southview, and it's fielded out of bounds at the 25-yard line for Collinwood. Coming over was Sam Mitchell on the kickoff return team. Also serves as the Railroader quarterback. Eric Kinder and I were chatting before the ball game about the Railroader nickname. Wondering how Collinwood came up with that. It's pretty unique.
Actually, when I was growing up, there was a school named the Railroaders. There was another school that we played all the time in football. The Brunswick, Maryland Railroaders. So,
different sort of name.
yeah.
24-0, 5:07 to go here in the third quarter of play.
But they were right on the B&O Railroad, and that's where they got their name.
Sam Mitchell still in at quarterback for Collinwood. Morrison and Fisher behind him in the backfield. And now Mike Jones walks in motion. Handoff goes to Jones. And as has happened most times all night, that play didn't go anywhere. Thrown for a loss on the play was Jones. Making the stop for Southview defensively was Vaughn Francis, their outside linebacker.
And now I hope that play is going to get mothballed for the rest of the game.
Loss of 5 on the play. It's now 2nd down and 15. 4:40 to go here in the third quarter. 24-0. Southview leading comfortably. A touchdown in the first, 2 in the second, and 1 in the third. Clock running. 2nd down and 15 at the 21-yard line. And now flags fly.
It might have been too much clock running.
Yep. Delay of game against Collinwood. Well, I've got the word on where the Railroaders got their nickname from. Bob Quinlan from WLCS.
Oh, good.
Raced over and whispered in my ear that there's a very big railroad yard right next to Collinwood High School. So hence, the Railroaders of Collinwood. Thank you, Robert. Appreciate the information. Pitch goes to Fisher. Fisher looking for room on the left side, battling his way out over the 20 to about the 21-yard line. I'll tell you what, the Southview defense has done a nice job in pursuing the football tonight. Tony Miller was in on that stop for the Saints.
Well, that's what speed will let you do. If you've got speed on the outside, you can chase down all of those plays, and you can drag out every pitch to the outside, keep the guys from turning the corner.
Of course, Southview this year an independent. No league affiliation, so the Saint football schedule an interesting one to say the least. Still have a couple of Erie Shore Conference opponents on their schedule, such as Admiral King and Elyria. Vermilion. Mitchell back to pass, throws over the middle, and it's incomplete. He was looking for Mike Jones at the 31-yard line. I don't think Sam Mitchell has completed a pass tonight. Is that correct?
Let me double check. I'm trying to see. Nope, he is now 0 for 4. And none of them being all that close. Because that one was thrown off his back foot and never had a prayer of being completed.
So again, Collinwood will punt the football. Look out. Tony Miller standing at the 48-yard line of the Railroaders. Let's see if Daniel Morrison even puts it in play toward Tony Miller. Low snap. Morrison kicks it right down the middle of the field. Miller comes up, fields it on the fly at the 45. He's to the 35, 30, 25. He's at the 20, 15, 10, and dragged down at the 8-yard line. A 37-yard punt return for Tony Miller. Now, at some point, if you're Phil Gary or if you're one of the Collinwood coaches, you tell Daniel Morrison, Dan, kick the ball out of bounds. Please don't let Tony Miller field the kick.
I guess the problem is whether or not your punter is able to direct the ball all that well. That one was a short punt. There was a good chance that somebody might have been able to pick it up and down it, but Miller caught it on the fly.
Well, see, there's that play that Gary Pelter for every year alludes to. Come up and catch the football. Yes. You'll see a lot of punt return guys simply stand there on a short punt, let it bounce, and the next thing you know, it's rolled past you by about 10 yards. Tony Miller made the correct play there. Come up and catch the football.
And he actually
Gary, is that play the bane of your existence or what?
That is. So many times I've seen punt returners let the football go and the ball rolls and rolls and it gets down and they lose 10 to 15 yards even if they just would have fair caught the football. But Tony Miller, very explosive, and he aggressively attacks the punt team when he gets the ball.
Well, Southview has taken a timeout. They have a 1st and goal at the Collinwood 7-yard line. Saints leading 24-0. And if they can punch in a touchdown right here, they will have more points in the first 7 quarters of the 97 campaign than they had in the whole season for 1996. Last year, Southview put 88 total points on the board. And this year they're already up to 85 with 61 in the opening ball game and 24 tonight.
And one of the things that Phil Gary alluded to during the State Farm pregame show, special teams, and the play of Tony Miller has given Southview some terrific field position, especially in this quarter, and of course, the kickoff return to start the game.
Basically set the tone for the football game. First and goal for Southview. They're at the Railroaders' 7-yard line. Eddie Daniels, the deep back in the eye. Buxton pitches to that's not Eddie Daniels. On the pitch is Michael Smith for Southview. And Michael Smith fights to about the 6-yard line. And the back judge hurdles a flag. Well, he let that thing fly from about 15 yards away. He saw something. And let's see what the call is.
That's a very nice throw by the back judge, too.
He hurled that flag like a javelin. Thing came whistling through the air. And now the officials huddle. We've got, I believe, a personal foul against Collinwood.
And then looked like an intentional foul call.
Yeah, it did.
But the wrong sport.
And we also have a Collinwood player down on the field.
I'll tell you what happened on that play. Why it didn't look like the way it was supposed to be was the quarterback, Brian Buxton, audibled on the play, and the tailback that was in the game, I believe it was Michael Smith, he didn't realize what the audible was. Coach Brian Joyner's yelling out to Buxton. He said, you can't change that play when he's in there because he doesn't know that part of the offense.
Buxton on a quarterback sneak right up the middle and into the end zone for the touchdown. 2:40 to go in the third quarter, and the Saints now lead it 30-0. And as we mentioned, Eric, they now have more points this year than they did in the entire 96 campaign.
And more than likely, barring a miraculous comeback, they're going to walk off this field with as many wins as they had all of last season as well.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty safe bet at this particular point. Larry Ward will try again for an extra point conversion. The kick is up, and it's good. So for the first time tonight, the Saints convert on a point after touchdown. They lead it 31-0, 2:40 to go in the third quarter of our Colmeyer Sports 2, opening up the 97 campaign with 2 consecutive wins, and Larry Ward gets a nice foot into that kick. Michael Jones bobbles it, now fields it at the goal line, looking for room up the middle, out over the 20 to about the 25 before a whole stack of blue jerseys brings them down.
And that bobble allowed Southview to break through the containment and set up in their lanes, and there was really no place for Jones to go.
Again, a reminder that Monday night, it's the Miller Time Monday Night Sports Spotlight. 7 to 9 over at the Church Street Bar and Grill. Yours truly, along with WEOL Sports Director Wally Minnis, some media folks dropping by, including Tim Gebhardt from the Chronicle Telegram, Jack McDermott from the Plain Dealer, hopefully a couple of more. 7 to 9, we want you to join us up at Church Street Bar and Grill in Amherst. Miller Time, Monday Night Sports Spotlight. Mitchell still quarterbacking, hands off to Fisher, and Fisher doesn't have any room whatsoever. He's dropped right at the line of scrimmage, perhaps a short gain of 1 if they give him a generous spot. We'll set up a 2nd down and 9 situation. Boy, what a turnaround for the Southview Saints. And not to take anything away whatsoever from Brian Joyner, their head coach, but certainly the additions of Chuck Bryan and Bob Kleiner to this coaching staff has meant a lot to the Southview program.
And having the number of people returning from last season helps. Continuity cannot be overestimated.
2nd and 9, Mitchell hands off. Morrison looking for room left side, and Morrison fights his way out over the 30 to about the 33, perhaps the 34. He'll be close to the first down. And I'm sure Southview looking for something right here that EC would have liked to have gotten last night, and that's the shutout. They demolished Lincoln West last week, but gave up a touchdown in that ball game, and I'm sure the coaching staff right now saying, hey, let's put the goose egg on the scoreboard. Let's get a shutout. Try to keep that defense fired up and emotionally into the ball game.
And listening to the comments of Chris Diaz, his team was very upset that they weren't able to throw that 0 on the scoreboard.
Daniel Morrison did pick up the first down for Collinwood right there. First down and 10 for the Railroaders at the 35-yard line. Mitchell hands off. Fisher fights for maybe a yard or two. Making the stop for Southview defensively in the ball game now is Eduardo Araco. Hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. We're under a minute to go in the third quarter.
So one of the things I'm amazed by is Tony Miller limps off the field, which could just be the cramps that we've seen so many players take up over the course of this game.
I'll tell you what, guys, we need a close football game. We had 3 lopsided affairs to open up the year. Mitchell looking to pitch the ball back to Morrison, and instead he coughed it up, and the Saints recover at the Collinwood 30-yard line. I think Darnell Bell came up with that football.
I was thinking if he didn't come up with the football, he was all over it on that play.
31-yard line.
Darnell Bell has had a terrific ball game tonight. First down and 10 now for Southview at the Collinwood 31-yard line. And Brian Buxton still in at quarterback for the Saints. We're down to 33 seconds to go in the third quarter. I formation behind him. Gregoric now goes in motion. Pitch right side, looking for room is Michael Smith. Smith now cuts back all the way to the middle of the field, and he's finally thrown down for a loss of about 1 or 2 on the play, and we've got a flag on the opposite side of the field.
Buxton threw a nice block when Smith chose to double back. You often see a lot of quarterbacks looking for the sideline after they pitch the ball.
Collinwood is clapping their hands. They think the penalty is on Southview.
And the initial indication is that it's a hold against the Saints.
I made the comment earlier that there were 20 Collinwood fans up in the stands. I actually counted them. How many players are on the Collinwood sideline? Because if there's 11 on the field, I don't know if there's another 11 on the sideline. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. I think there's 12.
Okay, I'm getting about 14, counting the guys on the bench who have their helmets off.
Oh, there are a few sitting on the bench.
Yeah.
I didn't see those guys. Okay, 2 guys sitting on the bench makes it 14. Boy, oh boy. 25 players out. First and 23 now at the 44-yard line. Brian Buxton simply looks up at the clock and watches it run out. So the third quarter is in the book. We head to the final period of play here at George Daniel Field in Lorain. The Southview Saints, iron clash, 31-0. Southview leading Collinwood. Buxton back to pass, throws it right side, and he and Tony Miller just weren't on the same page right there at all, as Tony Miller had ran a down and in, and Buxton threw it down and out, and it sails incomplete.
But all they both knew is that it was going to be a quick hitter, and it's a good thing that Buxton put a little bit too much air under the football, or it would have been 31-6.
It's now second down and 24 from the 44-yard line. Let's see if Southview elects to keep the ball on the ground here in the fourth quarter, although they did try a pass to open up the period, but Saints leading 31-zip. I formation behind Buxton. On second and long, Tony Miller runs in motion to the left, and Collinwood jumped off sides. And Collinwood trying to get the officials to say Southview moved, but the gentlemen in the striped shirts aren't going to have anything to do with that.
And Tim, I think one of the comments you made a little bit ago, that Collinwood's attention beginning to wander, it's their 6th penalty of this, well, I was going to say this quarter, but of this half, now that we are 3 seconds into the fourth.
I formation behind Buxton on his what is now a second down and 19. Again, oh boy, I think both teams are starting to have their concentration wander at this point. Southview may be thinking about what they're doing after the game as well, leading 31-0. And Southview gets the 5-yard penalty right back on them for illegal procedure. So we're right back where we were 2 plays ago. Second down and 24 from the 44-yard line.
But the clock is rolling on all of these huddles.
There is justice. Jason Yates splits wide to the left. Tony Miller here on the near side to the right. Southview now left to right on your radio dial here in the fourth quarter. Buxton, pump fake, now rolling to the right. Hit from behind, the ball popped loose, picked up and dropped at the 46-yard line. Let's see who picked that ball up for Southview. James Thompson. Boy, Buxton just got blasted from behind on a blindside hit. Woo.
That'd be interesting to hear what Gary has to say, because it looked to me like Buxton was beginning to move his arm forward on that one.
Well, you know, maybe they made up for the other one.
Okay.
It looked to me like he was starting to throw the football as well, but it happens in such a split second.
No, it's a tough call.
Oh, it is indeed a very tough call. So it's now 3rd and 34 after a loss of 10 on that play. Why Southview has decided to go to the air here in the fourth quarter is beyond me. Everything was going real well on the ground for them. You know, all sorts of movement in the line again. And that one will go against Collinwood. Encroachment call against the Railroaders. 5-yard penalty. Puts the ball back in Collinwood territory at the 48-yard line.
I think since this possession has started, we've had 3 penalties and 2 incomplete passes.
No, one almost incomplete pass. We thought it was.
We thought it was. Indeed, we did. In between quarters, we were wondering if both teams would keep it on the ground and be merciful to us here in the fourth quarter of play.
Well, the net effect is the clock is continuing to roll, so.
Well, I guess in that case, we can't complain. Jason Yates wide to the left. Brandon Neely in a slot left. I formation behind Buxton. Buxton back to pass. Lobs the screen, and he threw it over the head of Eddie Daniels on the left side. So Southview will give the ball back to Collinwood with 9:57 to go in the football game. Saints leading 31-0. And again, they'll get ready for East Tech next Friday night right here at George Daniel Field in Lorain. And then after that, Southview on the road, as on Friday the 19th, they will go to Elyria to take on the Pioneers.
Doesn't get any easier for Darrell Main.
No. Southview confused special teams-wise. They take a timeout. Brian Joyner jogs onto the field. 9:57 to go. Punting for Southview, yes, Larry Ward, and the kick is bobbled and then picked up, and slipping to the ground at the 15-yard line was Fisher for Collinwood. So there's 9:47 to go.
And I'm sorry to interrupt you. I was just going to say, I know Vermilion has it a little bit easier because they have a partial alliance with the Heartland Conference, as they were able to pick up a couple of games there.
Ashland and so forth.
Right. Thinking about maybe being able to join that conference in future years. But both of the teams that Houston Love had to schedule for very difficult times.
I think the conference that Vermilion would love to get into would be the Sandusky Bay Conference.
Yes.
I think the Sandusky Bay Conference would need another team to go with Vermilion to expand their league. Mitchell on a handoff to Robert Fisher, his fullback. Fisher brings it out to about the 16. He may have gotten 1 on the carry. We'll set up 2nd down and 9.
Now, after last night's game, I'm not sure Edison's in any hurry to bring Vermilion into the league.
That's true. You know, the conference that I just don't understand, and I never will, maybe we'll get into this on Monday night, and why they won't expand is the Southwestern Conference. There are so many schools that would fit perfectly into the SWC, and from what I understand, they've basically dug their heels in and said, this is our 8 and this is the 8 we're sticking with, and I'm really perplexed by that, to be honest with you. 2nd down and 9 from the 15-yard line. Handoff goes to Morrison. He's got room. The little tailback out over the 25, and he gets to about the 27-yard line. You know, during the last commercial timeout, Eric Kinder mentioned to me, he goes, I don't know why they don't give the ball more to Daniel Morrison. He's picked up about 6-7 yards of pop, and there he picks up a 1st down for the Railroaders.
Yeah, I'd be very tempted to go back into practice next week and scrap the wing tee, go with the classic eye, and run it with Morrison as my feature back, and pound him away.
1st and 10 now for the Railroaders at the 27-yard line. My concentration may be wandering just a hair as well. 31-0. Southview in the lead. Handoff goes to Fisher, and Fisher, the fullback, with a nice gain to about the 35-yard line as he simply moves the pile for about an 8-yard pickup. But getting back to that Southwestern Conference scenario, when the Erie Shore started to dissolve and break up once Lorain High closed, and then, of course, Midview said they're getting out, and Sandusky said they're getting out. I didn't understand. I thought a perfect solution would have been to put both Ridgeville and Midview into the SWC and make that a 10-team conference. They both sit there right on 480.
Right.
Easy access to all those schools. Size-wise, they fit perfectly. But I'm not the commissioner of those leagues. Handoff goes to Morrison. Morrison burst up the right side, picks up another first down for the Railroaders to about the 43-yard line.
As try as I might, I just can't picture Midview as an LCC team. I know they're there. I mean, I can see the conference roster and see that they're there, but it just doesn't look right.
Well, I will tell you that there are coaches and ADs that off the record will tell you they can't believe Midview's an LCC team either. First down and 10 for the Railroaders at the 43-yard line. That was a close vote. Came down to Midview and Vermilion, and it was a very close vote. Mitchell, fake handoff, rolling to the left, and Mitchell's going to keep it himself. He's to the 45, to the 50, to the 45 of Southview before he's collared from behind. Nice takedown on the play for Southview. William Torres made that stop. But Mitchell picks up a first down, so the Railroaders putting together a nice drive here.
And you like to see this the same way you saw Lorain Catholic fighting back. Even though they were down 54-0, they found a way to score.
I know you were back on the board last night, Eric, but to watch that young man, Matt Pastrone, play for Lorain Catholic was really an inspiration. Gary Pelter could tell you the same thing. Here was a team down by 54 points, and he was just giving it every ounce of energy he had on that football field last night for the Spartans. I was really impressed with that young man. First and 10 for the Railroaders, and flags fly all over the place as players are jumping all over the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, I think Jones moved too soon.
So we'll have a 5-yard penalty against the Railroaders. That'll push it back to the 49-yard line.
Well, and I know that in listening to you guys talk during commercial breaks, and I hope I'm not stepping out and revealing anything, but there was some talk. You obviously, in a 54-6 game, you couldn't give the Everfresh Player of the Game award to a player on the losing team. And that's obviously understandable, but the fact that there was even any sentiment just as a testament to the kind of play of Matt Pastrone, just a high comment on him.
First and 15 now for the Railroaders. Mike Jones again walks in motion out of a wing right. There's that handoff on the reverse. This time he's got some room to the 45, to the 40, down the right sideline to the 35-yard line. Well, Eric, you said you hope they mothball that play. They tried it one more time, and they finally got it to work as Jones close to the first down. In fact, he picked it up at the Southview 34.
But the worst Southview players in the defensive backfield, it's just Jones was able to elude them this time. It's not as if it fooled the St. defense.
5:55 to go, and the Railroaders simply trying to get a score here. Have something positive to build on. They haven't scored all year. Remember, they lost to Warren Harding 73-0. So I'm sure Philip Gary just wants them to get a score as Morrison bounces off his own blocker and manages to pick up about 5 to the 29-yard line. Brian Hall, his guard, was in front of him, and Morrison just ran right up his back and bounced off him and still managed to gain about 5.
And this has been the most impressive drive of really of the game for Collinwood.
31-0. Southview way out in front. Collinwood trying to make something happen before they get on the bus and head home. Split backs behind Sam Mitchell. Mitchell hands off. Fisher, the fullback, right up the middle inside the 20, spun down at the 15-yard line. Making the stop for Southview was another one of those players that they don't have a number for in the program.
Well, Tim and Eric up there in the booth, in defense of the Southview defense.
There's a lot
actually.
of second line guys in there right now.
Yeah, they've been scrambling down here, and as they should, trying to get everybody some playing time in this ball game. They're up 31-0. There's only 4.5 minutes to go, 4:45 actually. They've got to get everybody in on the field.
Absolutely.
1st and 10 from the 16. Hand off to Morrison. Morrison cuts it back, tripped up at the 13-yard line. Nice defensive play made by Southview's Damius Crawford.
And I got to tell you, they have some animated coaches down here on the sidelines, that's for sure.
Southview?
Southview, of course, you know, Boomer Chuck Bryant he's not shy about anything, and head coach Brian Joyner, he got so frustrated the last time they had to call a timeout in one of their special teams, I thought he was going to eat his hat. He was so frustrated.
2nd down and 6 from the 12. 4 minutes to go in the football game. Mitchell, fake handoff, rolling right. Now he's going to keep the football, steps up, spins his way to about the 10, still fighting for yardage and gets down close to the 5. The pile is still moving as the officials blow the whistle. Let's see where they spot it.
I think they're going to spot it.
Well, at about the 6-yard line. Well, about the 7-yard line. It'll be about a yard shy of the 1st. 3rd down and 1. Tell you one thing, those 20 fans have hung on to the bitter end. Collinwood takes a timeout. We'll take a break. 3:21 to go. 31-0. We're
they
back.
They may be riding the bus.
Just have the ball at the Southview 7-yard line with a 3rd down and 1. Again, our next Coal-Mire Sports Gridiron Clash Friday night will be over at Avon Lake. The Shoremen taking on the Lorain Admiral King Admirals. Mitchell under center. Mitchell takes the snap, hands off, Fisher right up the middle, leaps into the end zone for the touchdown. Mitchell ended up about 7 feet in the air as he went right over a Southview defender, and the Railroaders are on the board. It's 31-6. And Collinwood with their first points of the 97 season.
And this could be interesting as we watch Collinwood to see what they're going to do for the extra point. They haven't had to attempt one this year.
So Fisher with the score, and Collinwood says, let's go for 2 here. Down by 25 with 3:16 to go. Mitchell under center has Fisher and Morrison behind him. Hands off Morrison, right side. Morrison spins into the end zone for the 2-point conversion. So the Railroaders get on the board. It's 31-8, 3:16 left on the current clash here on AM 930 WEOL Elyria Lorain. Deep kickoff for Collinwood. Tracking it down is White for Southview at the 2-yard line. Hemmed in by a bunch of tacklers, escapes one, gets outside to the 10, dropped it at the 11-yard line. So with 3:16 to go in the football game, Southview's offense will take to the field. Let's see how many new jerseys and new numbers we see out there for the Saints.
And the reason they only got to the 10-yard line is Southview was playing that one for the onside kick. It was only
they had 10 guys bunched up. And Daniel Morrison simply decided to boot it deep. And Michael Smith was the only guy back there for Southview. Well, let's see who's going to run the Southview offense right now. Well, we know one thing. James Thompson isn't going to be in there. He ran in, turned around, and ran back out. Let's see who's quarterbacking. Still looking for a number down there because the quarterback has his shoulders turned. There we go. Quarterbacking Southview now, Bryce Tuck. Well, Southview was very confused because now they decide to take a timeout. Jogging onto the field is Raymond Wilson.
You get so many kids in the ball games this late stages, and you're trying to get them a little bit of experience, and that's what happens sometimes.
Tuck, the quarterback, and there's a fumble on the exchange, and Collinwood has it. The Railroaders take over at the 7-yard line of Southview.
On the 5-yard line, Collinwood has a
So with 3:08 to go, the Railroaders will try to punch another one in. And obviously the second unit for Southview doesn't get a lot of work on the offensive side of the football, although you would think they would have last week with 61 points on the board against Lincoln West.
Well, part of that too, Tim, is it's the first ball game of the season. You want to get your number one offense as much work as you can too.
Very true. Well, the number one offense for Collinwood is in there. Mitchell at quarterback. Hands off. Fisher right up the middle. Touchdown. Fisher with his second touchdown of the night. In fact, he scored just 14 seconds ago. Now 3:02 to go in the ball game, and it's 31-14.
Now, who knows? You may see an onside kick now.
Well, they're back within 17 points, a 2-point conversion right here, and it's suddenly a 2-touchdown game.
Maybe you kick deep and hope for another fumble.
So Fisher, I believe that was a 7-yard run, correct? What'd you give him on
I think I had it at 5, but
give him 5. And the Railroaders will go for 2. Handoff Morrison trying the right side, and he just barely got to the plane of the goal line, but he was pushed back. So an unsuccessful attempt for a 2-point conversion. It's now 31-14, 3:02 to go in the Colmeyer Sports Gridiron Clash. Dermott from the Plain Dealer and Wally Minnis along with yours truly. Tony Miller on the kickoff return for Southview. Jukes a tackler at the 35 and spun down at the 34-yard line. And that ball came frighteningly close for Southview to popping out of Tony Miller's hands.
And on that play, Southview didn't play for the onside kick. And they were back in more their classic kickoff return formation, as with the failure of that 2-point conversion, it is still a 3-possession lead. Not that we're sitting around thinking that Collinwood has much of a chance to win the game, but
you know, I don't know if Collinwood has a kicker or not, but you'd have to wonder if they did, if they would kick the extra point there. 31-15 would make it a 2-possession game as well.
Well, I really thought that they didn't have a kicker when it was 6-0 at the 5. They went for the touch instead of the field goal.
Yeah, that should tell you something. Bryce Tuck again quarterbacking Southview. Pitch right side goes to Michael Smith, and Smith dropped at the 36-yard line. Boy, that Collinwood bench is up. They're excited. Look at them over there. 31-14. They're jumping up and down, cheering on their defense. That's a credit to Phil Gary and his staff. Hey, let's get excited. Good things have happened here in the last quarter.
He played very well.
That was a nice drive they put together.
Yeah, and it may have been against the second team, but still, everything clicked.
2:18 left. Again for Southview, Bryce Tuck. Now the quarterback. And the left side of the offense jumps offside for Southview. And that upsets the right side of the offensive line. The Saints and the Railroaders in our Colmeyer Sports Gridiron Clash right here on AM 930 WEOL Elyria, Lorain. And again, if you're listening in tonight, you can watch this ball game all next week on WLCS TV, channel 61 in Lorain. Bob Quinlan, did you get Gary Pelter a time or two down on the sideline just to keep him happy? 4 times, Bob tells us.
I'm achieving almost as much star status as Tim Gebhardt is. he's getting prime billing up there.
That Gebhardt has about 6 mentions tonight, Gary, at least 6. Tuck hands off right side. Michael Smith gets down the right sideline and slides out of bounds at the 41-yard line. He'll be shy of the first down. Well, you know Gebhardt, he's that publicity hound, constantly seeking it. Actually, they're going to say Michael Smith went out of bounds at about the 39. So it'll be 3rd down and 6 for the Saints.
But the only thing wrong with that run is he managed to get out of bounds. So the clock is stopped.
With 1:32 to go. Gary Pelter was prodding Bob Quinlan before the ball game, hoping we could have a contest on Sweetest Day. 3rd down and 6 from the 39-yard line. Buxton bobbles the snap, falls on it at the 39, and
there's all sorts of flags out there as well.
Indeed. Flags flew all over the place. That's a Saturday, though. I don't think we have a game that Saturday.
Well, that's a shame, because we know Bob always dresses accordingly for those holidays.
Indeed, he does. Don't start. Indeed he does. 1:27 to go, and the officials are talking things over with the Collinwood captains. Oh, my. There are certain tapes that Bob Quinlan will keep forever. He'll never let them out of his sight. Football now placed at the 35-yard line.
So you teach those kids something, those young kids who are going to be playing under these lights more regularly.
And again, Tuck under center. A couple of new backs behind him with 1:17 to go. 3rd down and 10. Tuck pitch left side. Michael Smith looking to get outside. Gets a nice block. He's to the 40, to the 45, to the 50. Still on his feet to the 45. Cuts back to the middle, to the 40. Looking to get back to the other side. And finally spun down at the 39-yard line. Let me tell you something. Michael Smith with an exciting run right there. One thing about the Southview runners, boy, they dart and move all over the place. They're constantly cutting, changing directions, trying to juke the defender.
As Michael Smith went from the center of the field to the sideline, back to the center of the field before he was done. But you love to see running backs whose feet are always moving, who are always trying to find a way to pick up 1 extra yard. Or in his case, another 20.
Exactly. Ball spotted at the 39-yard line. We're down to 38 seconds to go in the football game. Tuck pitches to Michael Smith. Tripped up, dropped in the backfield for a loss of about 3, and that may be the final play of the football game.
I would imagine it will be.
Daniel Morrison makes the stop for Collinwood. Ball spotted at the 42. 31-14. Southview will win this one here at George Daniels Stadium to go 2-0 on the 97 campaign. And Brian Joyner says, indeed, just stay in the huddle. Let's let the clock run out. The final score, whoop. Oh my, Collinwood with 5 seconds to go in the football game takes a timeout. Coupled with their 61 last week, now with 92 points on the season, that surpasses last year's season total of 88. So a great start to the 97 campaign. Well, now Bryce Tuck under center, and indeed he'll probably just take a knee. He does, and that ends the ball game. 31-14. Southview a winner over the Collinwood Railroaders here at George Daniels Stadium. We'll be back to wrap it up for you when we bring you the Everfresh postgame show, including the Everfresh Chronicle Telegram player of the game.
This is your educational station for Lorain City Schools, WLCS TV 61.